On the other hand, though, there's the opportunities for, needing that human involvement are really critical. But it's also about a lot more than just, handling the interaction with empathy, right? If you can know in advance that the customer who is calling into you, let's just make up an example, but this is definitely, I've seen this firsthand. Say that this customer is calling to reschedule their appointment, but this is the 6th consecutive time that they're calling to reschedule their appointment since their last completed appointment. That is probably a pretty big red flag. I can't think of many businesses or operating models where that many consecutive reschedules without a completed service wouldn't be a red flag, right? Okay, well then that's not the customer that you want to just go straight to your automated systems, right? That's the customer you want to be talking to. You want to be figuring out, what's going on that's causing them to need to be rescheduling this so frequently like this, right? So if you can have that kind of insight in advance, that's great. Maybe it's a customer that is 90 days late on their bill. Okay, well, I don't necessarily want them to be able to call and push out another payment hold date. I want to talk to them and figure out what's going on, right? So this is that, kind of transitioning from use case 1 to use case 2 here. Sorry to make you bounce back and forth, Vasu. This is where, knowing that kind of thing proactively when the customer is first reaching out, that's where AI can actually be really, really empowering to your business, right? Is being able to identify those kinds of, red flags or green flags with your customers proactively. If they're if they're exhibiting high churn risk behaviors beforehand, and that because the AI has identified what those leading behaviors are, then you can not only route them to a human, but you can route them to a human who is specifically trained in retention and problem diagnosis and figuring out what exactly is driving this high churn risk behavior and what can we do about it. Even better than that is you can not only do that kind of specialized routing, but you can also arm that agent with specific next best actions, right? Target specifically, hey, this customer is rescheduled 6 times in the last, since their last completed treatment. Typically, that means that they are getting ready to cancel, but they're not ready to cancel yet. So let's figure out why it is that they're getting ready to cancel. These kinds of offers work really well in these circumstances, right? If they're calling to push out their payment hold date again, great. Let's talk about what their price point is right now. Is that too much? Is there, we're talking field services is my background. So is their service frequency too high, right? Is there an add-on or two that they don't really value quite as much that we can take off and reduce that price, right? Keeping a customer at the sake of, a per service revenue decrease is still worth it in the long run, assuming you're not cutting into your gross margins there, right? So keep the customer, even if it means you have to take a little bit of a cut. But if you don't take that kind of action, you're just going to lose them, right? Customers don't typically think to ask about every single potential tool in your toolkit to keep them, right? They just find a replacement. Maybe that's nothing. Maybe that's a competitor. Maybe it's DIY. I don't know. They typically just find an alternative solution and move forward with that rather than trying to, talk with you and, think of what are all the potential ways that my service provider might be able to help me with this situation, right? That's what our job is as the providers, is to identify those and present them. So, a proactive call reason, interaction reason. What are those leading churn indicators? You touched on, Vasu, also. What are those leading indicators of, hey, this is a great customer opportunity for an upgrade, right? Hey, we just started offering this service treatment in their area. Make sure to offer it to them because they probably don't know about it. And what kinds of offers are going to work best as we do that. That's the power of AI, is being able to provide that kind of targeted insight on an individual customer level.